Welcome, everyone. We are live on this lovely Wednesday. Oh, wait. Love is in the air. Happy Valentine's Day. We celebrate love every day. Um, what's it going to take? I heard someone say to me yesterday, I just can't. I just can't be bothered. And I thought to myself, can't be bothered to do what? And they said, yeah, I've been trying too long, and I just, I can't try anymore. And I said, well, how about we not try anymore? Because all of that effort can wear you down. When in actuality, it is simpler to just get into your imagination and play out what you want to experience. That's the part that doesn't take any work because that's the part that's supposed to be fun with our exploration, with our curiosity, right? But this person insisted that they couldn't. And I said, it's okay. You don't have to fight. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to do anything other than imagine. All you have to do, which reminds me of that very first line of the HP sauce commercial. Can you imagine how much I love you? Anyway, I won't go any further because I'm on YouTube. But can you imagine? Of course you can. That's the part that doesn't take any work. I think there's a word for that when they say we become jaded, right? But we don't have to become jaded. What I'm saying to you is this should be a fun experience so that it doesn't have to take so much out of you. Of course, it appears like it does. Oh, it's so much work. Oh, no. This is supposed to be fun. It really is. But what holds us back is that we're scared to do it. There's no need to be afraid to do it. Just have fun with it. Period. You know? Um, the other thing to tell you is you know that as humanity, it takes something to move us. You know this. We all do. We need to be polarized before we move. And that's why I told you yesterday, you have to self polarize. Instead of waiting for something, polarize yourself so that way we're never waiting for the next big thing, the next dopamine hit to move us. That is just a way we've conditioned ourselves to act and to behave is for that dopamine hit. All we've done is do it over and over and over again, and that's why we have to have the dopamine hit. But if you self polarize, you get dopamine, yes, but not to that extent where it's this really, really big spike. When you self polarize, you move yourself from a place of love because you say, this is what I want. This is what I want to experience. And so when you move yourself from that place, that state, you're not in a place of desperation. You've got to be able to recognize the different state that you are in so that you will know what you're acting under. What kind of compulsion are you acting under? Because it is the state that compels us to act. So if you say, you know what, I'm so curious and eager about this thing, let me investigate. Let me have fun with what I'm doing. That is different from saying, oh my God, I've got to do something. What am I going to do? I need a fix. I need some inspiration. I need some motivation. Now you're looking for something as opposed to shaping things the way you want them to go. There is a difference. And we begin to recognize this difference. We recognize this difference when we pay attention to the state. When you begin to recognize where you're living from, you see better how you are going to act. It becomes predictable, really. It becomes predictable. So instead of asking yourself, oh my God, what's it going to take for me to just change? Allow that desire to come from within yourself to move you towards change. You know how we say, oh my God, I was so tired of being sick and tired, I changed. That's a major, major push. But if you say, listen, I'm going to change because I am worthy, I am deserving. Oh, but of course, I'm changing because, listen, I'm just in love with what it is I want to become. So let me do it. Let me see it in my mind's eye. That is a different sensation in your body altogether from, oh my God, what am I going to do? What I'm showing you here is how to recognize where you are at so that when you behave or when you act, you will know what state you're acting from. It's really important to know what state you're acting from. Are you still in a state of wanting, or have you moved yourself to having? It's really important that we recognize what it is. Are we in a state of worry, or are we in a state of acceptance? Where are you? Because they feel differently. And when you begin to recognize what they feel like, you'll also not lie to yourself. You'll also not say, well, maybe I'll just compromise right here. Maybe I'll just go along to get along. You won't do any such thing. You'll simply persist with the mental conversation, mental image that you have, and know that that's what you're creating. That's the difference. But to know the difference, you've got to experience the difference and be honest about the difference. Because here's the thing, it shouldn't have to take me or a bulldozer to move you. It really shouldn't. You should want to move of your own volition, just simply because you want to. It's that kind of passion that totally disrupts an old habit in a profound way. You notice how sometimes some people just get up and they change, bam, and it was just one day for them. And you're like, how'd they do that? Because, as Neville put it so beautifully, the desire to change was stronger than the desire to remain the same. So when they said, bam, I'm done, they loved where they were going more than they hated where they were. That's what it should take for us, to love where we're going more than we hate where we're at. Those two things don't feel the same. Recognize the difference between the two of them and you feel it. Because if you move because you hate where you're at, ooh, what state are you in? How are you going to act? But if you move because you love and you are in love with what you are becoming, that's a different feeling. That's what I'm wanting you to recognize throughout the day today. Why are you acting? Why are you doing what you do? What's your inspiration? That's the part we seek for, to comprehend. Because when you do it from there, you'll recognize that nobody can quite come along and say to you, you don't have this thing. Let me give it to you. They can't whisper sweet nothings in your ear because sweet nothings won't move you. Because you're the one who moves yourself. But in order for you to do that, you've got to recognize where you are at so you know what's moving you. So that when something else comes along, you know that it's not you. These are the simple things for us to put into action on a daily basis. The laws teach us these things on a daily basis. This is what it does every single day. It's one of the laws is, if you don't like where you are, raise your vibration. Huh? What do you mean raise my vibration? Well, look at polarity. If you see where you are and what you're doing, but you would prefer to be over there and be doing something different, well, clearly you're going to have to move. Because where you are and where you want to be is only a matter of vibration that separate the two. So begin to feel good about where it is you're going in that new direction. That's how you raise the vibration. You feel better about where you're going. That's the key. So that you can move forward. And it just so happens they call it raising the vibration. Now I have to think about that. Because raise, you can erect, or raise, you can get the fire and burn it to the ground. That's raising too. So the passion, the fire of passion to move yourself, raise it to the ground. That's how you can move yourself also. So today, as you go out into the world and you interact with people, practice the art of recognizing what state you are in so that you will see how you're acting. But it also shows you what state they are in and how they are acting. And that way, we can make it through the day without taking offense to anything anybody has to say, because we recognize that people are simply in a state. Then you begin to see it, you will recognize how free you are becoming on a daily basis, more and more and more. Because now you're not held captive by the emotions. We're not. We're not an inmate in our state, but we are the occupant. That's the difference. The inmate of your state, you don't even notice what state you're in. You're just compelled to act, and you just act it out. But if you are the occupant, you're now the one to decide, to say, I'm going to behave like this. It's a simple thing that if we practice it daily, we will move ourselves in a most beautiful way. All it takes is practice and a sprinkle of love. And you're going to move in the direction you say you want to be in the most pure way there is. Because you're doing it just for the love of the fact that, snap, I can create. That's what it should take to move you. Instead of being fed up. Because we learned that last night in the lecture, didn't we? To be in love with what we want to become. And you will find how quick you become that thing. People say, well, love is the answer. Love is the answer. But that's how love becomes the answer. When you love where you're headed, you love the outcome. You love what you are capable of doing. That's why love is the answer. Do you see the difference? Then you see it, right? You can't unsee it. Because now it'll be a different experience for you. And that experience, once you have it, it's a major eye-opener for you. Totally. So practice it today. Practice. Practice recognizing, what the heck state am I in? Well, there you go, Ali. You're supposed to create a badass avatar to step into and embody. Of course. Think about what level of love that requires. That's exactly what it is. And I say people keep saying love is the answer. Yes, but that is how love is the answer. We keep looking to the love of the other. No, it's the love of the self. And remember the difference between the physical affection kind of love and the unconditional love that just simply says, I am. That's it. That kind of love is not dependent upon the external. It's not dependent upon, and here's the thing, it doesn't depend on mood either, that kind of love, that unconditional love, because it's not been conditioned. It's just pure love itself that says, huh, you see me? I have the capacity to change. I can bend the world to the inner conversations I have. No, let me see that I can do this. Let me show myself what I'm capable of. I'm so appreciative of the gift that I've been given. And you go out there and you begin to use it just because you've been given it. No other reason. You see, we keep saying also with fractals, right, that God broke himself and put himself into everyone. But what if God isn't broken at all? Example, different people, you have the Christian, you have religions, Jewish, Muslim, you get the shamans. Everybody ran together to say, hey, hey, come let me show you the beautiful thing I discovered. I just saw something greater than myself. I'm gonna call it this. And someone says, no, 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 I'm gonna call it this because I saw it. And somebody else says, no, I saw this. What did everybody do? Everybody saw only one thing. And it looks like as many as it does because they have different interpretations. But they only saw one thing. So what if God hasn't fractured or broken himself at all? This is why we keep hearing there's only one. Because it's not been broken into any pieces. It's just one thing playing many parts. But because many people see one thing, we think that many people have seen many things. When in actuality, we've only seen one thing. And that one thing is in you. That one thing is in me. That one thing is in you and you and you. One thing. But it looks as if it were many. That part can be a little tricky to grasp. But what do you mean there's only one, Angela? Look at how many cultures there are. You're trying to tell me only one thing fuels and runs through every single thing? Mm-hmm. Yes. Why? I don't believe that. It's nothing to be believed. It's something to be observed. That's the difference between the two things. It is simply observed. Just observe it and you'll see. We all know this. I'll tell you again, when you go to the funeral, that person is there, laying there. But what made that person get up and go? What animated that person? That's what's no longer inside the body. And it's the only thing that's ever missing from a person when we go to the funeral. The one animating factor that gave them their personality. That's gone. Only one thing is missing from each and every person that we bid farewell to. The animating power is missing. So the animating power missing from George is the same animating power missing from Susie. That's how we know that That Susie's no longer here because the animating power is gone. So there's only one thing. And we keep looking for it. We keep looking to the exterior. This is why we want the next big thing. Well, maybe I'll find God there. Maybe I'll find God here. God's not lost. And the moment you begin to recognize that there's one thing within you, and that's right where it is, and it's your imagination, when you see what it is and how it powers you and animates you to think, to speak, to act, how can you not sit there and be in awe of yourself and what you contain? That's when you hear, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. This is how you get what you want. You become love itself. So that when you say, oh, this experience is what I would love to enjoy, and you mold it and you shape it, and it is the love that you animate that new state with, then you step into it, when you embody it. That's what we're truly doing. So remember today, as you go out into the world, you're self-moving. Because that essence, that is God, that we call God, because that's the word we were taught. That's what's moving and running everything. And it's you. It's me. That's how we do it on a daily basis. Test it out for yourselves. I told you yesterday, every time you turn around, scripture is always saying, be still. But what if that stillness actually meant just sit there? Dr. Joe Dispenza says something interesting. He says a lot of people are afraid to sit there because they get anxious when they just sit there, they don't move. They think, oh, I'm missing out on something. Oh, I'm supposed to be doing something else. Oh, this doesn't feel right. And they become anxious and they worry. When in actuality, he says, just sit through it. Just remember, it's something you're practicing. You've never done it before. That's the only reason why it feels funny. Because you just haven't been doing it long enough. But the moment you invest your time and your energy within yourself, you'll sit there. But what will make you sit there? The love and the curiosity to go beyond what you are. So now, when you hear that phrase, that love is what will change the world, see it for what it actually means. It is you. You're the one who loves, who is love. So much so that you will sit there until your body complies with the stillness you command it to have. Because you want to go above and beyond what you are at the present moment. That's why you'll do it. This is why meditation will become easier for you. Not because it's a chore and, well, in order to change, people say, I have to meditate. No. Go into meditation with the attitude of, wait a minute. More than meets the eye. There's more to you. If you go into it with that attitude, that state of unconditional love, you'll learn much. Hey, I'm preaching to the choir today. Don't get it twisted. That's why I keep telling you, I'm not above you. I'm in the midst of you. Every single day. Right? Let us take a moment, shall we? To welcome everyone into the space this morning. Tonyo, darling, I see you. I see you, sweetie. And Itty Bitty also sees you too. Tanya's here on Twitter. Who's here on YouTube and Facebook? The better man won. Ruby, darling. A not. Well, you're the ones who've made yourselves known in the chat. The others, I see you too. Who's here on Fanbase this morning? Manifold. Hey, happy. I see you. Cause I'm happy. Dun, 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 dun. I'm on YouTube. I gotta stop with that. Hello, Dua. Stephanie, darling. KZ. Afternoon delight. I see you. And Jeannie, darling. I see you. Joaquin. I see you. Coach, Marquise, Shea Butter, Oracle Treehouse, and Flo Smiles. I see you all here on Fanbase today. I sure do. Yes. Just skimming the chat on Fanbase to make sure I'm not missing anybody. So today when you go out, you better recognize. Recognize your state. Recognize what's moving you so that you know how you'll behave. And before you even behave, because you can recognize where your state is, before you even behave, you do what? You revise right there on the spot before you do anything. Oh, snap. Look at that, eh? Hey, handsome. You're okay. I know. Good baby. Yeah. You're a good boy. So test it out for yourselves today. Because I sure will be. And here's the thing. The more you practice it every single day, what happens? Oh, you create a habit. Oh, yes, indeed you do. What kind of habit? Walking in unconditional love, day in and day out. That's what we practice. I'm looking forward to hearing all about your experiences, I'll tell you that. So practice it. You want to change? You say that you want to be different? Well, then be in love with that change. Be in love with it. Because you are the love in the first place, is what I'm trying to tell you. So that when you move, you know where you're moving from. And thus you know how you'll behave. And now you know what kinds of things you can experience. So, test it out for yourselves. How are you going to test it? By first recognizing where you are and what you're doing. Because you got to decide if you like it there or not. If you do, hey, carry on. If you don't, where do you want to be and what do you want to be doing? Now begin to experience it in your imagination. As you would experience it in reality if it were done. If it were a done deal. If you were a changed man or woman. Experience what? Well, how you would be. As a changed person, experience how you would be. If it's sobriety you're seeking, what would it be like? How would people treat you because you're sober? How would they treat you? Then that, see your behavior now that you're sober? Do you see it? Now that you're sober, do you see your new behavior in your mind's eye? Well then, start seeing it there in your mind's eye. How would you walk down the street? How would you greet people? How would they respond? Because you're not the same anymore. So every day, you fall more and more in love with your sobriety because that's what you say you want to become. And you are so in love with it that you say, I love it here. Your whole body chemistry is going to change to match what you now love. The same way it changes to match the things you hate. That's how the body responds. That's how you know what direction you're going in based upon the hormonal cocktail the body has just released. That's what Neville means when he says taking on the tones of reality. The body responds as if it were real. So start to see and feel your sobriety in your mind's eye and love it. Love the fact that you looked your demon in the eye and you said, man, I created you, man. You're a habit I created. And I only created you because I was in a particular state. But you see me now? I am in this state. And this state is much better. I love this state. So that when temptation, because you know how habits are, they want you to do them because you made it, right? That habit comes along and says, yeah, but we've been friends for so long. We've been companions for so long. Don't you miss me? Don't you want to do it again? You know how habits can be. Of course, if you want to give a habit a personality, it would be a seductress. Oh, indeed. But because you are in love with where you say you wanted to be, you gaze upon that seductress and you say, listen, I created you. I see you for what you really are. You have no power over me. And you don't have to fight the seductress. You just acknowledge what's going on and then you turn your back on it. Why? Because you are in love with where you want to be and nothing pulls you away from it. All you got to do is try it. That was my theoretical for you because I've never been in a position where I needed to be sober. I'm always sober. But what I'm trying to say to you is, if you created the habit, you can create the sobriety. The difference being, one of those things, that state you were in that created the habit, the addiction, that state back there that you were in, that state of torment that you thought you needed something to be soothed from, that's why you did it. That's why I say begin to see why you behave the way you do. And when you recognize the state, fall more in love with where you want to be. Because now that you're in love with it, it has your full attention. And when something has your full attention, you won't be deterred. You'll stay the course. You'll persist. As Neville says, it's like a lover you have an appointment to meet. You keep that appointment, let me tell you. That's the difference. Fall in love with that. Who and what you say you want to become, let that drive you. Let's get the bowl. As you hear the bowl this morning, allow yourself to be stirred up. Allow yourselves to be stirred up. Allow yourselves to be aroused by what? Where you say you want to be. Now, why you think Esther Hicks would say a thing tuned in, tapped in, and turned on? Because if you aren't turned on, you don't act. So allow what it is you say you want to become to fill your whole being. That. Anyhow, let's get the bowl so we can feel it a little bit. Oh, he's such a good boy. He's sleeping. Mommy is learning. If I get all fired up, so does he. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, Tonyo and Boubacar Diallo. Thank you all for being here on Twitter this lovely morning. And I'll see you tonight, 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when I'll see you. Uh-oh. I can't open it. There it is. Anyways, much love to you all, Twitter. Ooh, before you go, remember, pre-order your Hermetic Oracle cards, 1. And 2, tomorrow is a private live stream for all those who want to take part in the September 2024 Barbados retreat. Slide into my DMs if that's you, because once all the spaces are gone, don't put yourself in a position to have to hear, I'm sorry, all circuits are busy now. Don't. You don't want to hear that. Right? So slide into my DMs and let me know if you'd like to partake. Much love to you, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. AA, Ruby, the Better Man 1. I'll see you tonight, 10:45 p.m.